The world of competition is not always a friendly place. You guys know I'm coming out with a program called Killer Instinct. And this video just came out yesterday of Dominique Wilkins, not this video playing, but it's a video of Dominique talking about his interactions with Larry Bird and Michael Jordan. You know, in the wild, you're either the hunted or the hunter. And if you want to be successful, you've got to become the hunter and not be the hunted. One of the things I say in the Killer Instinct program is this, though. It may sound counterintuitive, but when you practice, when you're working on your game or you're working on your business, you want to feel like you're being hunted. You want to feel paranoid that there are guys out there coming after you, coming for what's yours. You have to feel that there are always guys that will come and take what you want most. And then when it's time to perform, at that moment, you become the hunter. What I'm going to play for you next also demonstrates the difference between this new generation and the old school generation. I haven't seen an interview where the difference is so stark. When I studied killers, they're a lot more like the old school than the new school. And if you're going to be a killer, you have to be more like the old school than the new school. Even if you're not a basketball player, I want you to listen to what Dominique says happened the very first time he met Larry Bird. This is from the Players Tribune. The link's below. Make sure you go watch the full interview. It's fantastic.
I remember the first time I played against Bird. I never forget this. I go to shake his hand. I'm a rookie. I'm playing against the Boston Celtics in the Boston Garden. I go shake, and Larry put both hands behind his back. He wouldn't shake my hand. I said, okay, he's just getting into the game. The first play of the game, he said, you don't even belong in the league, Holmes. And he shoots a three. Now, I wasn't mad that he made the three. But I said, this some bitch just called me Holmes. and he came down and did it again, so I'm pissed, you know. So the next time down, see me on the breakneck pitch, and I jump up and I throw it down on him. I mean, he fouls me. And he said, hey, Rook, I like you. You got hot. He said, but I'm still getting 30 on your ass.
Psychological intimidation, psychological savagery. That was Larry Bird. From day one till the day he retired. From the very first practice he ever had in the NBA to the very last practice he had in the NBA. Every day he was going not just to play basketball, but to annihilate you psychologically. And that came from maybe an inferiority in Larry Bird, that he knew he didn't have the athletic ability of someone like Dominique. You guys have Zion. The last 10 years had Blake Griffin. We had Sean Kemp, and before that we had Dominique. Those were our high flyers. Zion's on the way. Larry Bird couldn't compete with those guys. So he knew that he had to use his mind as his ultimate weapon. Now we'll see in the next clip, when you have somebody who is an athlete like Dominique and has the mentality of Larry Bird, you have the GOAT. One more quick point before moving on. If you're going to trash talk before a game, there are some rules you have to follow. Number one, for you, when you trash talk, it's just words. It's words that come out of your mouth. It's kind of as if you're casting a spell, and once the spell leaves you, you're trying to plant seeds in their head. You're trying to get your opponent to overtry or to start to question whether or not they have what it takes to play against you. You start to give them little earthquakes in their mind. Start to shake things a little bit. You also need to make sure that this trash talk gives you a little bit of motivation, but it doesn't take over your whole game. You see, a great trash talker talks a little bit of trash to put a little bit of pressure on himself, not a ton. And he's willing to abandon his trash talk to win the game. He's going to achieve his goal in the flow of the game without over trying. He just wants that little bit of a challenge without short-circuiting his composure. So many athletes trash talk, come out and try to do things that they normally wouldn't do. You see this with a lot of role players sometimes before a big game. The superstars are generally quiet, but then you have a role player come out who talks a lot of trash. And the superstars typically do not like that simply because they don't have as much pressure on them, the role players, as the superstars. The mindset of a great athlete is always on attack, but they will never do anything to put themselves out of the zone. Everything they do is gearing them towards the zone. That's why they're talking trash. They're trying to get their competition a little lower, trying to get them to overtry or to not try hard enough, and they're trying to get themselves in the zone. So if you're going to talk trash before a game, make sure you have trained your mind so when you talk trash, it's just words. You don't have to live up to it. And second, it gives you a little bit of motivation that doesn't overpower your game. Dominique goes on to say, I went up to Larry Bird 12 years after we had met, that first rookie game, and I said to Larry, you know, Larry, in 12 years, we've never taken a picture together and we've never shaken hands. So this was Larry Bird's mindset his entire NBA career. He wasn't nice. He was a killer. He was hunting you. He wasn't trying to be friendly with you. He didn't want to be close with you. He didn't want a friendship. He wanted to destroy you. Bird says all the time that some of his best moments are watching Magic Johnson walk off the court nearly in tears after Bird beat him. Do you have that in you? You gotta have that in you. That's a killer instinct. Let's listen to what Neek says about MJ.
He was a killer. You know, he wanted to take your heart out. I will never forget this. I never had a player to do this. So I remember us going to Chicago. Now we're in suit and tie. We're sitting in the locker room. We just walked in the locker room. Now remember, Michael Jordan walks into our locker room, suit and tie. I'm like, what the hell is he doing in our locker room? Is he coming to the training room? Well, what's going on? So he walks by me, he walks by Kevin, we get to Randy with me, he said, lace him up, it's gonna be a long night. I'm like, did he just come in our locker room? I didn't know what to say, I was shocked. He had 60 that night. He had 60 points that night.
I want you to imagine yourself having that type of confidence, because you can. You can start to think that way. You can start to believe in yourself at the same level MJ does. Maybe you don't go and talk about it, you don't have to go tell the other team about it, but mentally you're in that same position. Not everybody's a trash talker, okay? But you can still have that same confidence and that same swagger. I want you guys to be killers. I want you to go out into the world, not just in basketball, not just in sports, whatever it is you do, and have that mindset, have that mentality. Bird didn't shake Dominique's hands for 12 years. Wouldn't take a picture with him. Do you see the difference between the old school and the new school? Jordan walks into an opposing team's locker room and tells them, get ready, it's going to be a long night. I've mentioned this before, but I think it's kind of neat. Something I used to do. And of course I wasn't Jordan or Bird, but I think I had the same sort of mentality, that attack mentality. And I always thought when I stepped on the basketball court, this was my job, I'm going to work. And to this day, every time I play basketball, I always have a pair of work socks. It can be business dress socks, or it can be like construction socks, the thick ones. And I put on a pair of athletic socks, and then over that I put on a pair of work socks because I'm going to work. And my mentality was, these guys are out here playing a game. This is my business, this is my job. I'm gonna have fun because I love what I do. I love where I work, but this is work. Something maybe you can consider, think about. All these little psychological things we do to get ourselves in the zone, to get ourselves ready. And I'll finish up by saying this. What's really interesting when you listen to Neek talk, when you listen to Bird talk, when you listen to Jordan talk, when you listen to guys talk about other great players, They very seldom talk about their athletic ability or even their skills. Do you notice they talk about their mentality? They talk about the way the guys think, the way they attack psychologically. That's what stands out. That's what makes you a great player. Everyone's working hard, everyone's going to have the skills, but do you have the concentration, the composure, and the confidence to go out there and do it consistently night in and night out and be a champion? This is basketballbrain.com. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Bye.
Growing up, I was always interested in the mental game. After years of study, I developed the Basketball Brain program. My life is devoted to helping others achieve their greatness. I hope you'll like, subscribe, and if you take a chance with the Basketball Brain program, I promise you your game's going to reach levels that you never thought.